It's always something, isn't it? We just can never just enjoy a game anymore. We're gonna be talking about the end of the Super Bowl. Um, this is gonna be a little different than my normal type of videos. It's not gonna be hyper edited. I don't have a script in front of me that I'm reading right now. I didn't type anything out because that would just it would take too long, and I want to get this video out soon because I want my thoughts out there soon. I don't want to have to like wait a week before I post this. I get being upset at the call. I do. You know, obviously we're talking about the Bradbury penalty defensive holding at the end of the game. They gave the Chiefs a first down, pretty much like ended the game. They got a field goal with like 8 seconds left instead of like a minute and 38 seconds left. I didn't personally like the call either. I would have liked to have seen them not call it. But like, and I know Bradbury came out after the game and said, like, I pulled him. I was hoping they wouldn't see it. I was hoping they would let it ride. They didn't. You know, it is what it is. I look. I get it, and you know, I do think he pulled a little bit, but I also think it wasn't enough to affect the play to the point where Juju was going to catch up to that ball in the end zone. I get being upset at the play, but like, it was such a great game up to that point. And by the way, that call doesn't like give the Eagles the win if it doesn't happen. The Chiefs are still going up by a field goal, whether that call happens or not. He still would have made the field goal from like 5 yards back. So the Chiefs would have been up 3, and I know the Eagles would have gotten a lot more time to do something, but you know, their defense also allowed the Chiefs to march down the field that whole way. It was such a great game. We've gotten back-to-back incredible Super Bowls. But I feel like even for both, even last year's Super Bowl, the focus after the game, the story after the game has been more about the bad refereeing that people perceive rather than actually enjoying what a great game we got. And I feel like NFL fan base as a whole is turning into the TV analysts that we so hate on TV, whether it be like ESPN or Fox or whatever. People say they hate them, but then they become them when it comes to these arguments of like robbing the enjoyment of the game from everybody. You know, and I understand, you know, some people do it on purpose to troll. You know, they say it's a Mickey Mouse thing or it's rigged, or like the most overused joke ever of like, oh yeah, the Chiefs and the refs beat the Eagles. The story of this game should be Patrick Mahomes on 1.5 ankles putting up 38 points against one of the best defenses in the league. That should be the story. It like the MVP of the league hobbling out there because he got hurt in his first playoff game this season and battling through all those games to lead his team to a Super Bowl victory, his second Super Bowl victory. He's building up like a good career here, and this is the start of it, and we're witnessing it, and nobody's enjoying it. I understand Philly fans not enjoying it. That's fine. You know, I'm not going to tell you to enjoy a game where your team lost, you know, especially Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. Okay. But for other fans are just focusing on this ref thing too. And it happened last year too, where instead of enjoying that final drive where Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are like connected like this, like two anime characters fused together, like connected heartbeats. Everyone knows where the pass is going to go. Everyone knows where Matthew Stafford is looking. He's looking for Cooper Kupp, and they can't stop him. It's a no-look pass on the final drive of the game, pulls it out of the bag. And then, of course, for a touchdown, Cooper Kupp scores. But instead, everybody's focusing on the ticky-tack calls. People were complaining, oh, yeah, technically that was a penalty, but I don't like that they called it on Logan Wilson. They should, like, swallow their whistles that late in the game when it's, you know, that close. Bro, just enjoy the end of that game, man. It was an incredible game, another close game. And we're taking advantage of these great and close Super Bowls and like not enjoying them at all, just wasting them. You know how many bad Super Bowls there's been, man? So many. Like, you know, the year before that, the Buccaneers blow out the Chiefs because the Chiefs don't have an offensive line to speak of, and Patrick Mahomes is getting harassed in the backfield the whole game. All right, not too long ago, there was a game where the Seahawks, I don't even remember the score, it was like 50 or 60 to 7. Like, these are back-to-back. These have been two really good Super Bowls. Last year's playoffs were a lot better than this year's. There wasn't that many close games this year. The only other close game in the playoffs we got this season, there was also controversy. You know, over stuff that really shouldn't have been that controversial. Okay, the thing that happened on the, like, giving 3 third downs to the Chiefs where they tried to stop the play, they ended up, no one heard the whistle because of how loud Arrowhead is. The play went off, Chiefs didn't get the first down, they let them redo the play, didn't get it again, but there was a flag, so they got the first down. I get being upset about that one. That one's understandable. But they didn't even end up getting anything out of that drive. They ended up punting on the next series. Or on the next set of downs. People are upset about that. It didn't even affect the game. Bengals got the ball back and then didn't do anything after that, gave the Chiefs the ball back too. And then the, like, unnecessary roughness where Osai pushes him out of bounds. Patrick Mahomes was out of bounds. There was nothing to be upset about there. Well, I just don't like the referees deciding the game. Don't cause the penalty then. There's a reason why that penalty is a penalty. Because of what happened on the play. What ended up happening to Joseph Osai is the reason why it's a penalty. Because when you continue the play that far towards the sidelines and that far out of bounds, someone might get hurt. And that's what happened, because there's benches, there's other people, there's so many other things that's not on a football field. You know, it's on the sideline that someone could get hurt. And Osai got hurt trying to stop himself from running into the bench, and he ends up hyperextending his knee. My memory of that game now, and what anyone was talking about from that game, was that play or those calls, rather than enjoying what ended up happening in that game. That was a great close game between two of the best quarterbacks in the league, and we should be enjoying that back-to-back Chiefs-Bengals matchup that we got to see, and what might end up being the AFC Championship a lot of times over the next few years, where it's going to be like Burrow and Mahomes, just like it was Manning and Brady, but instead we're focusing on those two plays. I feel like it robs any enjoyment of the game if any bad call ever at any point, especially if it's late in the game, happens. And I would understand if it was more egregious, if the calls were like the Tommy Lee Lewis play. Was Tommy Lee Jones? Tommy Lee Lewis? I think it's Lewis, right? I don't know. I think it's Lewis, where he got headbutted by Nickel Roby-Coleman. When, by the way, if he just turned around on that play, Nickel Roby-Coleman gets a pick six and wins it for the Rams. Even as a Rams fan, I can admit that should have been called. Obviously, that was a robbery of the Saints, and the Saints probably should have been in the Super Bowl that year. I can admit that. Okay? If that happened in the Super Bowl, I would get being upset, because that's one of the most egregious missed calls ever. But that's not what happened, and I feel like everybody, and maybe it's a chronically online thing, and this isn't, what most people think. Maybe it's just a chronically online thing, but I feel like nobody enjoys the game anymore because they want to get some kind of controversy out of it. Everything has to be something now, rather than just enjoying it for what it was, which was a great close game, a high-scoring Super Bowl that ended 38-35. That's a great game, and we should be enjoying that. We end up just focusing on this. This is the biggest story of the game. It's all the headlines. It's the first thing when you go to Google. That's the first suggestion. I just want to enjoy the game. It was a great game. I had a great time. I had some wings. I had some pizza. Hung out with some family. But instead, this is the thing I'm talking about. This is the thing most people are talking about. And this isn't just like an NFL thing too. This goes to any other sport. This is an NBA thing too. With the thing that happened with LeBron against the Celtics a few weeks ago, I understand being upset about that. I'm a little upset about that. I'm a Lakers fan. They had been screwed over several times leading up to that game, but that one was by far the most egregious, where LeBron gets slapped on his hand going up for a game-winning layup. He gets slapped by Jason Tatum so loud, everybody in the arena and everybody outside of it in the bathrooms hears the slap, but somehow the guy looking straight at it, the ref looking straight at it, doesn't call it. But I'm not complaining. I'm not whining about it, weeks later. It's not the biggest Like, that was a huge story because it was a huge missed call, and the Lakers ended up losing in overtime. But by the way, they Lakers, you still had a chance in overtime. You know why we keep losing games? It's hopefully it doesn't keep happening after the trades, but you know why we keep losing games is because we're in close games constantly. We wouldn't be in those close games letting the refs decide the game if we just, like, I don't know, got a 10-point lead ever. But I feel like this is just like an ever since the bubble type of thing. Just this mentality of like, yeah, your championship doesn't count because of this, or this, whatever, right? Look, if you don't want to count the NBA, you know, the Lakers championship, I think you're dumb, but because every other team had the same chance when they were in the bubble. Same with the Dodgers when they won their championship. Every other team had the same chance to win a championship. Yeah, it was shortened. We've had other shortened seasons. But now it feels like everybody, like I see YouTube videos now. I feel like most of them are ironic, but like I see YouTube videos now of like putting an asterisk on every NBA championship or putting an asterisk on every MVP. I just want like people to enjoy the game still, and nobody does. Nobody does. Nobody cares. If you want to be upset about something yesterday, by the way, I just remember this. You'd be upset about the fucking field. Everyone was slipping on the field. That grass was grown for 2 years. Cost the NFL $800,000, I think. $800,000. And the players that had changed their cleats mid-game is crazy. That's crazy. If you want to be upset about anything, be upset about that. Not about one small pull of the jersey that maybe shouldn't have been called, maybe should have. It's a judgment call that in real time is hard to gauge. I would have liked to not see it called, but it was called. Really, if you don't want to be in a situation where a call like that can cost you precious minutes of a game to try and win it at the end, maybe don't give up a 10-point lead at halftime. Being that they were the second team ever to do that in a Super Bowl, along with the Falcons. It's some real bad company. Last year's Super Bowl was it could have been so iconic, I feel like. That was a great Super Bowl game. But instead, because of the calls that were made, even though, by the way, T. Higgins grabbing Jalen Ramsey by the face mask, dragging him to the ground, and then going for a 75-yard touchdown doesn't even get talked about. But those like ticky-tack calls on the last drive just don't like, I can't even remember the penalties that they were called, but like don't do the penalties if you don't want to call them. I feel like in 10 years we're not going to be able to look back on this game and enjoy any of the great plays that happened. Enjoy the story of what should be the story of that game. You know, when I look back on Super Bowls from when I was a kid, you know, there were some boring ass games, sure, of course. But the first Super Bowl memory I really have, well, there's a small memory I have somewhere in my head of the Santonio Holmes catch in the Super Bowl where he tiptoes and the ball goes over like 3 defenders, and then he like tiptoes both of his feet in as he catches it in the like on the border of the end zone. That was sick. That's like my first Super Bowl memory. Okay, that was the story of that game and the James Harrison thing. But my second real core memory of a Super Bowl is the game where Eli Manning and the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots. I remember that because I was over at my friend's house. He had a bunch of people over, and everybody was expecting the Patriots to win. My friend's dad had I don't even know how much money he put on him, but he had a bet on the Patriots. And then the Giants come back and win that game with those crazy plays. And that's the story of that game. You know? That's the story of that game, not any missed calls, which I'm sure there were throughout the game. But no, we don't get that, because everything has to be something. Everything has to be something. Nothing can live up to the legendary stuff of the past in this like overanalyzed social media era where everybody has an opportunity to put their opinion out there, which I know is rich coming from me, someone who is a nobody putting their opinion on YouTube. I understand. So social media has done a lot of good things, like letting me do this, but I think we end up robbing ourselves of that any opportunity to let anything become legendary. Like in the moment, we knew nothing else could. There's no other story that's more important right now. This moment right now is legendary, because what it should be, the most recent NFL moment that's pure legendary, is the Cooper Cup drive, right? But before that, it should be the Chiefs versus Bills game. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes are going blow for blow. Josh Allen scores with like 12 seconds left, and then Patrick Mahomes somehow manages to win the game. Or was it win the game or tie the game late? I can't even remember. Just to tie the game, because they went to overtime. But now, that was the story of that game. Not the drive, not the back and forth. The overtime rules was the story of the game. And I hate the NFL overtime rules. For a long time, I thought they were stupid. But they've been stupid for a long ass time. I don't know who thought those rules were, as long as the team who wins the coin flip, as long as they score a touchdown, the other team doesn't even get to have the ball. I don't know who thought that was a good rule, but it's not. It's so incredibly stupid. But I could have told you that was stupid like 10 years ago. Why they don't do college rules, I don't know. They should. But that was stupid a long time ago. There are a lot of stupid rules in sports. Why does that game need to be ruined? What should be like the most legendary game of the past like 5 years, that game gets ruined because of the overtime rules. And that's it. All anybody was talking about the next day. Not the incredible game that we saw, but the overtime rules. That, oh yeah, it's so stupid. The Bills didn't even get a chance. Well, duh. And I'm glad they changed it. Okay. But I'm still going to enjoy the hell out of that game on a replay, on a rewatch, and not let those overtime rules and how it ended ruin it. Because it was still a great game. And if you want to let these people or yourself ruin these games and never enjoy another NFL game ever again, and then in 50 years be like, oh, back in my day, before all these fancy passers came in the league, and before the refs were ruining the game, there hasn't been a good Super Bowl since Eli Manning took down the Patriots. If you want to be that in 50 years, fine, you can be that. But I don't want to. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that old man that's on the porch or on his old rocking chair, telling his grandkids about the good old days of the NFL. For something to be iconic, it has to, like, after that game and for the weeks and months after it, that has to be all anyone's ever talking about, is that play, because it was so awesome, so legendary. We're watching it on YouTube time after time after time, but all anyone ever talks about is how the refs screwed their team over. Oh, I can't believe the refs ruined that game. I can never enjoy it the same again. Like, grow up. Teams getting screwed over is what happens in sports. I know I'm probably going to get quite a few comments telling me I'm stupid, which I understand. If you're from Philly, go light it up. Go crazy. I'm giving you permission. If you're from Philadelphia, you can put a hate comment in the description or in the comments. You can go do it. It's fine. It's deserved, honestly. Like, for the next 2 week span, you can spew hate. It's fine, as long as you don't go too far. You're allowed. If anyone else, just try to take a deep breath, look back on the game, and realize that was such a great game, man. It was such a great game. Don't let that one call, just because most of us, even me, would not have liked to see it called. Don't let it ruin what was otherwise an incredible game and what should be the story of the game, which is Patrick Mahomes, the MVP of the league, on an injured ankle, high ankle sprain, battling through it all game, the past 3 games, to win the Chiefs the Super Bowl. That should be the focus. Because look, if we let every bad call ruin every historic moment possible in the past, we wouldn't be able to enjoy the Lakers 3-peat. Because that would, we know the Kings got screwed over. We wouldn't be able to enjoy Tom Brady's career, which I already don't because I don't like him that much. Um, I probably shouldn't put that. I probably shouldn't put that in, but I'm going to anyways. The whole tuck rule game is the thing that sparked the Patriots dynasty. I just feel like we should try to enjoy what we're seeing in front of our eyes, because these players are not going to be here forever. These moments of us getting to watch sports with our friends aren't going to be here forever. And look, I would be more understanding of not enjoying the game if the blowout. Okay. But that might happen for like the next 5 years straight. And then you're going to be looking back on these 2 games, these past 2 Super Bowls, with like, oh, I wish we could get a close game like that again. Just enjoy it while it's here. We have so many talented quarterbacks in the league right now, and I just want to enjoy that. Just want to enjoy that while they're here. We saw 2 incredibly talented and young quarterbacks that are going to be here for a long time face off in a Super Bowl. And all anyone's talking about is James Bradbury, Juju Smith-Schuster, and that referee on the sideline. Anyways, I've been rambling for a while now. I think I got my thoughts out there. I know this is a different type of video than what I've been normally posting, but I just want to get my thoughts out there. And if I can keep doing videos like this, I can post more consistently. Anyways, this is going to be the video. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, try not to hate me too much. If you see a bunch of hate in the comments and you enjoyed the video, please leave me a nice comment. I might mentally need it. I'd appreciate it. And I'd also appreciate it if you guys would consider hitting the subscribe button, consider hitting the like button if you like the video. Yeah, I'll try to get another video out soon. I'm working on another one. Got to type out the script for that one. That's going to be another video, more like the ones I've been doing. That's going to be an NBA video. We're going to transition to more NBA stuff now, but still like some mock draft stuff in the future. But yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.